Welcome to the other side of normal. I'm your host, Nacho, and tonight's guest proves that if you hang around haunted places long enough, eventually you'll decide to buy one or two. Okay. Welcome to the other side of normal. I'm Nacho. With me tonight, I have Jill Shelly, who is got quite the resume behind us. So we're going to spend some time getting her info going and find out what we can find out. So, Jill, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've been a paranormal investigator since 2010, but I've always kind of been interested in the paranormal since I was a young child. And I feel like, it's most common in a lot of paranormal investigators that they have some sort of experience when they were younger that kind of pushed them in the direction as to what they do. Mine was at my grandma's house. And so I had kind of felt a presence come out of one of the bedrooms at night, and it just stared intently at me. Like I felt like it was staring through me. And it turned around and walked the other way. And I was pretty scared as a child. So I just kind of hid under the covers until morning. And then my grandma and when I told her about it, just nonchalantly was like, oh, it was a ghost. So I was like, well, grandma just kind of just blew that off. So, yeah, I'm kind of more intrigued about these ghost things. So I think that just kind of fueled my passion a little bit more to doing the paranormal. Just kind of had a few experiences here and there, as a teenager and growing up. And then with the advent of television coming out with, the ghost hunter shows, that's when I realized, oh my gosh, this is like a real thing. You can do this. So then, we started, there was actually a guy at work that I worked with that he was into it, and he had started a paranormal group just himself. So we joined together and started our group, St. Croix Paranormal. That was in 2010. And we just kind of started out doing local homes and businesses. Then we just started to travel around the U.S. to more well-known haunted locations in search of answers. And yeah, it was just a lot of adventures.
That's awesome. So, Grandma just said, "Oh, that's a ghost," and like you just had to accept it that it's a ghost. Like it was no big deal for her. Was she? I guess she was used to this.
Yeah, I think like she didn't really care later on in life. She said she saw a UFO too. So I think she was more open to that type of subject matter, which for her age and bracket, that was really cool because at that you were considered nuts if you saw something, believed in something. So that's why I was more affected for the fact that my grandmother just was all nonchalant, like "Ugh, it's fine, So just kind of maybe validate some stuff too. So
That's crazy. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're right that at that time, I know my grandmother. We always talked about there being something in my grandmother's house, and my sister would be gone too late, I guess, at night, and her bedroom light would come on, and she's like, "Oh, that's the ghost." But I always took that as a joke, like, but now I look back, I'm like, she would probably admit it to us, but I don't think she would admit it to anybody else.
oh no, I don't think. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity going with the believing in the paranormal. I think with the advent now of the TV, it's a little bit more forthcoming, but I still feel like when I run into older people, the older generation, they still are a little bit hesitant to discuss any findings that they have had.
Yep. Yep. My mom doesn't even want to recognize it. And that's, I mean, that's, she said in her ways about that. Now, my sister, who is on here, she just popped on and said hi. Um, she's a little more open, and actually, she joined the team and she goes with us running around now. So it's funny how things have changed, but yet there are still cities that, like, if you have a haunted location in the city, they don't want you. They don't want to deal with you. I've seen one that they put up all their holiday decorations on all the light poles, and then you get to the haunted location and no decorations at this place. They just skip it and they go on to something else. Like, we don't even want to be bothered with you.
Mhm.
And there are people that are still really afraid.
Yeah,
and it's just like
yeah, you'll
they,
find.
they need to be they need to be educated on it, I think, right?
Right, right. And like I said, I think a lot of them are the older school ones, and they feel like what we do as paranormal investigators are talking to Satan, stirring up the devil, that type of thing. So it's really hard to get them to change their mind on what we're doing. I think even if we did tell them, really, no, it's not. I still feel that a lot of them just with their faith and everything and feeling so strongly about it, it's kind of hard to transition those people over into be like, hey, I guess it is okay. But I guess you can just do your best and say what you can, and maybe they'll learn from it, or maybe they'll just continue doing what they do.
I think that people are very set. Older people, and I say that I'm almost 60, but older people are very set in their ways, and they don't want to be bothered, and I think that's okay. I really do. I think it's okay if you don't want to be bothered, but at the same time, well, you're missing out. You sure are missing out. So let's talk about St. Croix Paranormal a little bit. Um, you said 2010, right? You guys been together since 2010.
Since 2010, yeah.
That's some longevity
Yeah, we
for
don't.
sure.
Yeah, we're not. We had people come and go, but there was a
Yeah,
core group of us that did stay together. Unfortunately, now the point of our lives as we've gotten older, has taken different turns, so we're not as able to investigate as much as we'd like to. But we still try to get a good 1 or 2 trips in a year. And then sometimes if they can help me, they'll run down to either the Boyd House or the Lodge, and help me out with those locations as well.
that's pretty cool that you guys have still stayed together after all these years. I know we've already lost people in our group over the last couple years, and it's interesting what happens when people go away from your group, and not always, but I guess I see people leave other groups, and it's a bad deal. Um, so during investigations, what has changed in your approach from when you first started until now? What have you done differently, and how do you look at it differently than when you started?
Well, when I first started, it was more to prove to myself that there was another side. I was afraid of death, and that the afterlife. I was had to make sure there was another afterlife. Like I really was having a hard time dealing with it. But then doing some of the stuff I've done, getting EVPs and different interactions and such, that confirmed my suspicions that yeah, there is another side to it. So then I kind of think I changed my approach a little bit from proving that to like what's going on there. Like I want to kind of know like what is it like for you over there. We also shifted a little bit. I feel like when we first started, we focused more on the death of the person or whoever we were talking to, meaning how did you die? Would things like that. To where we have now focused more of what was your life like, and I feel like we get a little bit more response based on things like we ask, what was your favorite Christmas present? What was something that was very emotional for you? Just trying to find out some specific things about spirits and if we can help them. So, we can't cross them or anything. We don't know how to do any of that, but we just kind of feel like if we can just give them a little more peace, at that time that we are there, that makes us feel better. Um, for instance, we went to a location where a lady was murdered, and she had asked if she could have some flowers. So we actually drove up to the dollar store and got some fake flowers and brought them back for her. And then we had put the REM pod by it, and then that just started going off like crazy because we just asked if she'd thank us if she liked the flowers, if she could touch the REM pod. So, just little things like that we like to do.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Um, so when obviously when you first started, there wasn't a lot of this paranormal equipment out there. Do you guys use equipment now?
Yeah,
More equipment?
when we first started out, we just had like a 1K2 meter, a voice recorder, and a camcorder. That's all we had. There was no REM pods. There was none of this stuff. Spirit boxes didn't exist back then. Um, so, so it was slow coming. We bought all the gadgets, and they were fun. I still prefer using either a Spirit box or Estes session. as hands down is my favorite, just because I like the science behind those products. But for the most part, we're trying to get away from. We feel like we got more interaction and more evidence when we didn't use all the stuff that we did. So we're trying to kind of just take a step back and just kind of be like, what fits in your backpack is what you get for the day. So it's like, we used to, oh my gosh, we used to go to places. I am not kidding you. We would probably set up anywhere from 20 to 30 camcorders. Plus, each of those camcorders had something in front of it. And then a voice recorder with each camcorder. And we let it run the entire time. So we had so much to go through. It would take us like 3 hours to set up. So I got kind of sick of the really long setups as well. So we're just kind of focused, like we just maybe some key points. We'll put up like 4 cameras. That doesn't take very long. So that's kind of about what we do at this point. So
They're telling me to move. Is that better, Deborah? You don't need to see me. You need to see her. I'm trying to keep people from having to look at my face. Uh, yeah, I agree with you that the more equipment you have, the more distracted you are, and the less time you are actually focusing on what you're doing. Um, so I can agree with that, that you'll probably get more just with the old school 2 or 3 items and let's roll.
yep, yeah. So that's kind of what we're doing. So we got a couple investigations set this year. So we're just going to kind of go with that, even though they're bigger places, but which is good because that's bigger places. That's usually what we did, is mostly walkabout and setting up a few key points. So that, I think that'll be a real fun time for us.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite location?
Besides my own, I like Edinburgh Manor, which we're actually going to do a back-to-back night stay, which we've never done at a location before other than mine. But we've not, and we're really excited about doing 2 night stay at Edinburgh. It's like one of my favorite places. It's like an old poor farm slash kind of an asylum place. So a lot of deaths. Used to use as kind of a lot of medical things happen there too. So every time we go there, we get so many great EVPs, equipment interaction. You feel them around you. It's my favorite EVP I've captured from there, which is a Class A. We were playing with a little girl in the playroom, and then as I was getting late, I said, "Okay, well, we're going to leave. Good night, and thanks for playing." We captured an EVP later. Of course, I didn't know at the time, but she said, "I'm going to miss you." So I
Oh,
was just like, oh, so every time we went back, I tried to connect with her. I've never been able to. So I don't know if she's moved on, or maybe we just don't connect on the days I show up there. Um, but yeah, just really, really fun, great place to go. So we're excited for our back to back night stay there.
oh yeah, that would be incredible. Let's see. So we obviously that I want to ask you about, because as you gave me your bio, I'm like, holy crap. Um, First podcast out the great, and I hit the mother load. So you were on Bio Channel's My Ghost Story. Now I'll tell you that I looked through a whole bunch. There's no good descriptors on these things. Um, when they list the podcast, or when they list the shows. So I watched probably 10 different episodes, and I couldn't find it. But you were on there for capturing a shadow figure in a local bar.
Yeah, I was called A Night with Monique. For some reason, that one's a really hard one to find, which is weird. But yeah, we were down doing one of our local bars in town. They had a lot of history where like their dartboards would turn on, things would get thrown from the bar, like the glasses, the alcohol. They would just catch it on film, just crashing. So and the employees were scared to go in the basement, so they asked if we could just come out and see what we could find. And we actually got to go like 3 times, which was really cool. But there was one day when we were there, we could really smell perfume, and we would hear a woman audibly talking, and we did learn that there was a prostitute that was thrown out that window and died. So she's probably attached to that building. But then we were taking a picture and we caught the picture of a gentleman's face in the mirror, and it was so distinct with like a beard, the whole, it looked so 1920ish, it was just so, it wasn't even one where you had to kind of think about it. It was there. Um, but I think like the most profound thing is it was about, I don't know, 3, 4 in the morning. So yeah, there's not really much going on at town at that point. We were upstairs on the upper level, and my girlfriend's like, we were just chit chatting, trying to figure out what we were going to do next. And then all of a sudden, I was just commenting on how cold it was getting. I was like, ice cold all of a sudden. I was like, oh, geez, the air must have kicked on or something. And then we both looked at the front windows, but again, we're up a level, and we saw something like a black cloaked figure almost, and it kind of went in like strobe motion. It was just the weirdest thing, but yet fast, if that's even makes any sense. And it just kind of went across the windows and then just disappeared. And then I looked at her and I'm like, did you just see that? And she's like, I did just see that. And then luckily later when we reviewed on one of the cameras, we actually caught it on film. So we had submitted it and we were able to go down to LA, and it was a really fun experience to do that.
It's awesome. And it is so hard to catch shadow people on camera. I mean,
Yeah,
we
we only
we got lucky and we caught one. Um, and we had to watch the video. We saw a little bit of movement. We thought we caught one thing, and it turned out we caught something totally different. And it took us hours. We tried to debunk it. This isn't a shadow. We created this somehow, and we could not debunk it. But you just don't catch them on camera very often.
No, we only had one other time, and that was at the Randolph County Infirmary. We were just, it was just me and Teresa in this giant infirmary because not everybody could go. So there's two of these women in this huge asylum. So we were walking around and we kind of came to a split, so I was kind of like panning the camera back and forth, like, well, which way do you want to go, kind of thing. And I didn't see it at the time, but on review. So as I was swinging back through, there's a door at the end of the hallway, and you saw a black shadow figure peek out the door as I was scamming, and then he went back in. And it was just like a total human shape. And it was like, oh, that's kind of creepy knowing that we were the only people there. But yet we captured that.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
But yeah, other than that, no, we haven't. I've never even seen an apparition. Um, I've maybe seen shadows out of the corner of my eye, but I've never got to see a full body apparition. So I'm not sure how I'd react. I feel like I'd be really cool about it, but then I'm sure I'll be terrified. I'm sure it'll be such mixed emotions, and I heard it happen so fast you don't even really have time to react. So
Yeah, I think that's the thing is we don't know how we would react. So I'm one of these people that I'm afraid of nothing, right? Nothing scares me. I'm former military. I've been in a war. I've been shot at. I've killed somebody. Blah blah blah. I'm afraid of nothing. But I'm telling you, when it was somebody full body appears in front of me, I can't tell you how I'm going to react because there's no way to prepare for that.
right. I think it'll freak me out. I always tell people, or I always tell the ghost, and I don't care where I am. I'm like, yeah, if you're going to show yourself, please do not do it while I'm sleeping. That's all I say. I do not want to wake up
Yeah,
my eyes and have somebody standing there. That is like the worst. Like I don't want that.
yeah, no, I that I think would definitely cause a stir for me. I think I'd be on my feet way faster than I should be, and then all hell would break loose after that. Um, let's see. You're really good because you've answered most of these questions. I ask you a little bit, and you just keep going, and you answer the rest of them, so I don't have to ask them. So Paranormal Patrol, you guys created your own show, and that was on local cable.
Yeah, I just started dabbling a little bit in video editing, and I found I really like doing it. My goal wasn't to get on national TV or anything like that. It was just something that I liked putting a little timepiece together of what we experienced as a group, and just to share that out. So we were doing it, and they took it on the local cable channel for a while, but it was very high demand, and I had to have so many shows like all the time. We don't go all the time, so I couldn't keep up with it. So then we just kind of switched over to just throwing them up on YouTube. when we get them done, just because I don't know, I just love doing it. It's just kind of a fun little hobby of mine. I like just doing that kind of stuff. And now they're coming out with some really cool video editing stuff. So I'm learning new stuff now.
See, I'm really bad at the video editing. I guess I can't say that I'm bad. I could say that I haven't done enough to be good at it. Um, and again, you come home from an investigation and you ran three cameras, so you've got 24 hours of video on there, and now you got to sit there and plow through it. Plus, life goes on, and I put it on a external drive, and it sits there, and I'm like, oh man, at some point I got to get back to that. And guess what? I never do. Well,
See,
then somebody will say something. Hey, remember when you were doing a live there? You saw this, and it was on your. Oh yeah. So then I'll go back and dig it out, and it's so overwhelming for me right now that I just shame on us. But
yeah. Well, I don't do as much as we used to, but my whole goal is like I just want to get through everything. It's like get the show together because it's kind of fun. That's like my favorite part. Once you get through everything, then I really like doing the whole creation of our show and stuff. So that even though it's a lot of work, so like you said, you have hours and hours and hours of film footage, and I end up with a 30-minute video, and I've just spent like 3 weeks straight of my life watching TV. So
so Gary wants to know: is that the Conjuring house behind her? Gary,
no,
we're going to move into this a little bit. Jill owns two haunted locations, um, and that's one of them. That's the Boyd House. Am I correct?
yep, that's the Boyd House in Boyd, Minnesota. I was not very creative on the name when I got it, but when I did, I didn't know the history yet, and I was really excited to get it set up. So it just became the Boyd House. But now that I have it, it kind of fits it. It's perfect.
We did. I told you we watched a couple of videos and stuff like that. And here I've got let's see, I've got your logo there for the Boyd House, and this I don't know. That's not the same picture you have. It's a different picture, but also I think that's pretty cool. So you want to tell us a little bit about the Boyd House?
Yeah, so the deed itself goes back to 1889 when the land was actually owned by the Minneapolis and St. Louis Railroad, and the tracks today still run pretty much right behind the property. But the house was built in 1901, and it kind of changed hands a few times. Nothing tragic that we found, but the most common thing that we found in 1912, the Eckert family moved in, and they were there till 1958. Two of their children passed away in the home. One choked to death when he was about 2. The other one was in infancy. And then we have a lady in the 70s that she passed away as well. Just stroke, heart attack, not, just elderly thing. And then both Fred and Minnie passed away in the home. And Minnie's funeral was held in the parlor for 3 days in the main area where the 3 windows are. But they actually were well-known people in town. So Fred actually was justice of the peace. He was on the fire department. He helped build the Lutheran church. He owned a high-end grocery store, so he sold more of the higher-end goods. They made their own bologna. So very, very well-respected man in town. And then the town itself was butted up against the Sioux Dakota reservation line. So I'm sure there's a lot of history with that as well that we're not going to find on anything in the books. But I do have pictures of the town back in the day. It was a booming Wild West town. They had like 500 people in town. They had granaries. They had a movie theater. They had a bar, a billiard, granaries, dairy farms, everything. But now it's pretty much a ghost town. There's very little business in town, just maybe a handful, if even that, and down to about 150 people in town.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty much becoming a ghost town as well. But yeah, just a lot of history with the town. The house itself was one of the first houses in town that had plumbing, so it was more of a little bit more of a higher tech house. And it survived a couple of floods. Uh, so yeah, we got some pictures of it back in the flood days when the water was up to the back porch, and so
So Deborah asked, do you think a lot of the haunting is in the house, or is it maybe the land?
I think it's a combination of everything. We do get some of our permanent ghosts that stay there, our resident ghosts. But we get what we call a lot of passerbyers as well. They'll tell us they're just passing by. We've had many psychics tell us because of the history of the town, there's a lot of spirits that are just roaming around and they kind of get that energy and they stop by. We've been told that we have a portal in the house as well. So I think things that are just kind of coming through. I think with everything we do at the house, we also have a lot of haunted antiques, supposed haunted painting. So we have a lot of different things that we have in the house that kind of contributes to a lot of the energy that goes on there.
That's the monkey picture, right?
Oh yes, the the famous one.
Yeah, I saw a video of the guy's talking about the picture, and then something happens right behind him as he's talking about that picture, and I'm like, oh hell no, stop messing with that picture. Uh, so I'm going to skip down a little bit to this picture that I have, and this was taken. This I took this off of a video from Midwest Ghost Hunter when he was at the Boyd House, and you'll probably recognize it as soon as I put it up here. But those are your curtains up in the one bedroom, right?
Yes, in the girls' room.
Is there anything about that picture that makes you pause and look at it and say, "What is that?"
Me personally, no, but even with my glasses on, I do not have the best vision. So I personally am not seeing anything, but that doesn't mean there isn't something there.
So the white to me, and this was part of the experiment I put on social media, and I said this is just about how, and I'm not claiming anything's paranormal at all, but it's how people look at things differently. And if you look at that ruffle in that picture, I see the word devil, right? I'll go back to just the picture. Whoops. I see the ruffle is laid out in the word devil,
Oh yeah, you could say that.
right?
But
I mean, it's
I didn't notice it until you pointed out, though. That's the thing.
right,
Yeah.
right. So we were watching this, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And I stopped and I backed it up and I watched it again and I backed it up and I'm like, and all I saw was evil. And I'm like, it says evil. And so then I took a picture with my phone and I forgot about it for a couple of days. And I was scrolling through my pictures and I'm like, there it is. And I looked at it again. I'm like, holy crap, that says devil. Then other people said, well, I see faces in there and I see this and I see that. And, a lot of times somebody will post a picture and say, oh, I see this in this picture. It's that's pareidolia. You don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing in it. And people said this on my post. I'm like, I'm not telling you there's anything paranormal in this. I'm just telling you this is an experiment to show everybody how to how when you look at it, you're going to see something different than somebody else does. We all look at things differently.
Right.
And I think that is in this day and age, everybody wants to jump back and scream at somebody, what you're looking at is garbage. That's not worth you looking at. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean somebody else doesn't see it. So I want everybody to kind of get into I wish people would get into, if somebody sees something, sure, you can look at it and say, I don't see that and I see this or that. But this stuff that people are just being nasty about, in this community has a lot of great people in it, but man, there are some people in here that just want to be nasty. I
I
came across a guy that says he's been doing this for 40 some years today, and he's a lecturer, and don't put this garbage up. Like, well, if you've been doing this for 40 years, then people see things differently. And again, I'm not claiming that there's anything paranormal about it. I'm telling you that people see things differently and not to be so quick to judge them because you don't know what they're seeing,
exactly.
right?
I agree with you 100% on that. And I've thought that too. Like a lot of times I'll see a video and I'm like, wow, it could have been. But then I think I wasn't there. So I don't know. I don't really
Right.
know what the surroundings, what was going on. So I can either believe it or not believe it. But either way, I like to watch people's videos and see what they're doing, how they investigate. Maybe their techniques really, maybe they got a good technique. Maybe I'll try something. I go off of it because I'd rather just learn something from someone. I may not
That's
be, if I don't agree with them, well, I don't do that. you know?
exactly that's and I think we all in life in general, you learn. My grandfather used to say this all the time, and my mom is one that she's a woman of a few words. You learn a lot more by watching and listening than you do by talking. And I think that that's a big deal, especially in the paranormal.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's just it's really crazy how this community has such different visions from people. So how many people do you think a year come through the Boyd House to investigate?
Oh, probably, it varies from year to year, but I would probably say maybe 150 different teams, maybe per year.
I think
Yeah.
it's
So,
I don't know what is normal, but I think that's a pretty good number.
yeah, we get most of our weekends sold out. Um, pretty much throughout it goes like all of our winter sold out. So we're pretty much good through March, and then another month as we get closer, then the other summer months will start filling in. So it just always goes. We already have people for October booked already for the Halloween. so, you know, um, yeah, she stays very busy, which is good.
And in Minnesota, your guys' winters are no joke, so I'm sure that weather plays a factor.
Oh, it does. Yeah. I mean, we just got through a cold stint of actual 22 some degrees below zero. Sometimes we get so much snow. Sometimes we get ice. That's always fun. So you just never know with Minnesota.
That's
And
what
then it could be
that's
60.
what we're going through here now.
Yeah.
We're going through 2 weeks. It's been like zero, and we got 15 and a half inches of snow a week and a half ago.
Yep.
This sucks.
Yeah.
This sucks.
We are open 365 days a year. I allow people to reschedule due to the weather because I am not going to force somebody to come out in a blizzard. I would rather have them stay home and then reschedule for a different day when it's safe for everyone to travel. So I never want anyone to feel pressured that they have to make it there. I know some places are strict rules on rescheduling. So, but with weather, you can't help that.
Yeah. Somebody asked earlier, I think it was Gary asked, about where in Minnesota is Boyd, Minnesota.
It's 145 miles southwest of the Twin Cities, so we're about an hour from Brookings, South Dakota. So we're more on the southwest side by Marshall, Montevideo, Granite Falls. If people are from the area, if they know where that's at, they'll kind of get us pinpointed.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mapped it out. I think it was like 14 and a half hours from Pittsburgh, so that's a pretty good haul.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
out there. It's in the middle of nowhere. You drive through a bunch of cornfields and you pull up and there's town. So that's pretty much it.
The creepier the better for me, you know. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. That's where you want to be.
Right, right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot happening there in that town, that's for sure.
So you own the Boyd House. How often do you investigate there? I mean, I'm sure you go through and you talk to them, but do you go and investigate?
Mostly when I'm there, unfortunately, I'm cleaning, restocking, and doing things. And it takes a long time as you can see, it's a pretty big house. It's a little over 2,100 square feet, so it's got a lot of levels on it. So it takes me a while to get things done. So I don't get to investigate as much as I'd like to, but I think it's kind of nice for them because it gives them a break. um, from the everyday, where I'm just coming and talking and hanging out. And I was just there a couple weeks ago by myself, and I told them, when I'm by myself, I really don't like to investigate anyway because I'm kind of chicken that way. So, I just say, hey, I'm just here to clean today, so just let's not interact. But I can feel when they're around me. Because I just know. But a couple times I audibly heard voices, a couple of times, and as well as a growl in the closet in the where that painting is. So I had gone in there to get the vacuum cleaner. I pretended that one didn't happen, so I didn't give them a reaction on that. Um, But yeah, there was I woke up in the middle of the night, and it's an old house, so you just have like the old floor grates, so you can hear exactly what's going on with each
Yep.
level. And I kind of heard this ting ting ting, and we have like metal shelving. That's what we have for cabinets. That's all metal. It's like I'm hearing this tapping of the ting, and I just laid awake, and then all of a sudden I started hearing a man talking, and I'm like, oh crap, did somebody get in? So I'm like sitting there listening for a while, and it didn't stay. It wasn't constant. So I was like, oh, okay, it's just a ghost. So I went back to bed. But then I also heard a voice on my way when I was leaving, and I was like, "Hey, thanks for not being too pushy yesterday," and that's that kind of stuff. And then I heard a man say two words. I don't know what he said, but I just said, "Okay, thank you." So hopefully it was something good. But
I don't, I think if I owned a haunted location, I would never leave. I just think I would be there 24/7. And that's easy to say because I don't own one. But man, I don't know if I could ever let anybody investigate because I'd be there all the time.
I know, but you got to have money. So, because all the revenue that we get from the Boyd House, we put right back into it. When we got it, it needed a lot of work. So we put a new roof on it, needed some repairs. We have some upcoming repairs that we still have to do. We've renovated everything back to the 1900s when we bought it. So we put up the old wallpaper on the different paintings. We filled it with antique furniture. So it's got a nice, cozy, creepy, homey feel to it. So.
And I like all the different colors in the house. Just from the videos I watched, it seems like every area has a warm color to it. It's like the wallpapers are very. It's all comforting to me. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but when I see that old stuff, I really feel comforted by it.
Yeah, and I'm drawn to old stuff too, so I think that's probably why. Um, Maybe I don't know if the spirits guided me to that because I just would just pop in my head. I want black, like in the main bedroom, I'm like I want black and gold, and then in the girls' room, I'm like I want gold and white. So it's just kind of like I think they kind of guided me to that way because I can't imagine. I don't know. Maybe I would have picked it out on my own, but I just kind of feel like they kind of had a little play in that.
I would imagine that they do. So Deborah has a question, and this kind of leads into my next question: is do you think activity has changed or amped up due to different types of investigations that come through?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it also depends on the group that's there because some people come, they'll get nothing. Some people get a ton of stuff. Some people just get minimal stuff. So I think it depends on a lot of things too, like the energy that your group brings. Does the spirit even want to talk to you? Does the spirit even have energy to talk to you that particular day? So there's a lot of varied factors. But I do believe, compared to when we first got the house, it was a lot more less activity primarily because I feel they didn't know what I was doing and what things were. Basis if you think of places that you've gone to that where people are tromping through hundreds at a time, well, them spirits learn what a REM pod is. They learn what a spirit box is. They know how to use it. In the case of the Boyd House, nobody ever talked to him. Nobody ever tried to interact with him. So this is all new. So if you can imagine, say, hey, touch that antenna. I know it lights up and does weird, freaky things, but just go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if I trust you on that.
Okay.
So it took them a little bit, to kind of warm up to things. I think for me, one of the most profound things is we weren't getting a lot of activity, minimal things, but I wanted a little bit more. And I was sitting in the kids' room and I had like a little REM bear, like an EMF bear. So he just blinks, he didn't make noise. But I just kind of said, hey, kids, if you start touching our things and letting us know that you're here, people are going to bring you presents and you're going to get a lot of stuff, but you got to let us know that you're here. And then from that day forward, they touch everything a lot. So right, that bear had gone on and off for a couple of hours that particular night when I had asked them to, when had left the room. And he had never previously, when I've left him there, done anything. So it was really cool that they kind of let me know. And then since then, boy, they every time I come, I'm like, oh, look at this new doll you got. Oh, look at you got this is new. So they get a lot of stuff to where I had to buy them each because we have a boys' room and a girls' room. I had to buy them a big giant toy box to put all their stuff besides what I buy them, what
Oh
people
my
bring them
gosh,
to. So they got a lot of stuff.
that's amazing. Do you think that spirits can be fatigued or overstimulated? Like they get tired of interacting with people? Or
Well,
is it truly about the energy that the team brings in?
I think it's a combination of everything, but I also feel like if I was a ghost, if they're like, oh God, they're asking me how I died again, so it's like, I would probably get kind of annoyed with that. But I think just a lot of people do things a lot different. So they kind of it's not always 100% the same thing. And again, I feel like my spirits really enjoy interacting with people. So they do get a lot of really good experiences. We don't really have anything malevolent or anything. A couple crabby guys there, but you're gonna get that because he's just crabby. Um, but yeah, I think people just really enjoy interacting with the spirits that we have. They're intelligent. It's not residual. They do things on command sometimes. If you ask, will you touch this? And then you're like, okay, one more time, touch it 2 times in a row, and then you'll get that. So then, you're validating things. I think when you push it, go, okay, now 3, and then they're like, okay, really? Because
That's enough.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah, they already did it. They don't need to prove the 75th
How about
time.
you touch it 3 times now, buddy? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm. So one of the things that I'm on another podcast with a couple other teams, and we do a once a month thing. But one of the things that we've always talked about was if people go to a location and just start talking to spirits, that eventually they're going to hear you and they're going to start coming to that place, right? Because they're wandering around. They may not be from right there, but they may hear you and come to find out what's going on. Because most people don't want to walk around and talk to spirits, right? So if I go to my garage and every day I start talking to spirits, eventually I'm going to bring something in there, right? Something's going to hear me and be like, "Hey, I'm going over here to find out what's going on."
Oh yeah, well, we walk around and talk to them all the time, and I even do that at the Boyd house. Whether I'm not really investigating, but I usually carry a voice recorder on me so I can go through and see if they've talked. I mean, one of my favorite EVPs from Boyd is when I was cleaning and I was in a room and I was just talking, and as you can see, I talk a lot. But I was just kind of talking like, how was your week? What did you do this week? I'm going to a wedding. You ever been to a wedding? Like I just kept talking and talking and talking. So much so I kind of drowned it out some of the EVP because she said a really long sentence. So I drowned it out some stuff in the beginning, but then the last part was I'm trying to sleep. So
Oh, oh,
so yeah. You do got to talk to them, and they can hear you. They can understand definitely, um, for sure. It depends on as far as the question about the activity for falling more male or female. It really depends on who you're interacting with that day because we both have male and female spirits there. Plus, we have children, so it just kind of depends on what approach you take and what spirits it is about. We do have a supposedly, and I don't know why she's there, but we've been told by a couple psychics there's a prostitute that's there. Her name is Jen. She really took a shine to my husband. So she talks about his cheeks. She'll talk that he's strong. She woke him up one night, um, which we wasn't sure it was Jen, but later on our Estes session, it was confirmed that Jen had done that. Um, but he was sleeping downstairs. He usually just is more comfortable sleeping by himself down there, and he woke up at 2 in the morning to this really profound smell of women's perfume. Like it just woke him up out of a dead sleep. And so he just kind of sat up and looked around. He didn't see anything. So then he went back to sleep, and then it happened again about 45 minutes later. So then he kind of got up and he's like looking around thinking, did she plug in an air freshener? He thought he was smelling some of the blankets that are hanging around, thinking because we had guests the night before that were ladies. He thought maybe he was smelling that perfume. We didn't smell anything. So it was just, he said it was a very, very profound, heavy perfume that somebody was just standing there. So
that's pretty cool. Okay. And so I guess your husband believes in the paranormal.
He does, but it's not his thing. Like he doesn't, if he investigates with me, he's usually sitting on his phone, just sitting in the chair while I'm doing my thing. So, as
So he
he's like,
puts up with it.
yeah, pretty much. Like he says he's the maintenance guy, but I mean, he does support me in what I do. So it's
That's
just not.
awesome.
Yeah, ghost hunting is just not his thing.
I totally get that. There are a lot of people that are not interested in that,
Yeah, and
and I think never.
he likes to see the evidence and videos and things like that. But as far as actually investigating, no, not interested.
And I think Deborah's asked 3 times now. So let's talk about the lodge,
Oh
the
yes,
1861 Masonic Lodge.
yeah, I bought that in 2018, I believe it was. After I kind of had my hands full with the Boyd House, I just wanted to try a bigger building. Now, this one is located in Keithsburg, Illinois. So it was not my first choice, being that I'm in Minnesota. But when I first looked at that, and if you're looking at this building, you're like, I kind of have to have that. So I was immediately drawn to it. So we went out and did a mini investigation during the day. And I didn't get a ton of stuff, but I did get a few EVPs. So that was enough for me because I know obviously something's saying to me. I was the only one up there. So they said, like, I see you. And so then we just decided to purchase it and we just started getting a lot more activity. We found out it was actually the Arlington Hotel that was actually used as a brothel before it became a lodge in the 1900s.
That's awesome. So I've seen several former Masonic lodges that are now places that you can go investigate. And I don't know. My grandfather was a Mason, but I don't know anything about the Mason. Does it have something to do with the Masons, or is it something that is not necessarily the Masons causing this?
Well, I think part of the haunting is because we have both spirits from the hotel era and from the Mason era, and I think just by doing all the rituals and the traditions and the energy that the Masons put into that is why we're getting a lot of activity. Plus, again, the energy from the hotel, being the brothel, and things that we don't know of people who have died there. One of my first experiences that somebody came up to me when I was cleaning the lodge after I purchased it. It was a master mason. He came in and introduced himself. And then the first words out of his mouth is, "Have you seen her?" And I said, "Who?" And he said, "The woman. She wanders the halls here at night. I see her when I'm here cleaning by myself." So there's that long history. Many, many people from the town came forward and said, "Yeah, you can see the woman in the windows. Sometimes she wanders the halls." Another person told me they had come into the lodge and they had seen a woman scrubbing on her hands and knees. They verbally said hello to each other. She walked in the kitchen, told the other ladies in there, "Who's scrubbing the floor?" There's nobody out there. And they walk out there and there's nobody out there. So it does have some history of a lot of paranormal activity. And since I've been there, um, again, I've only been a handful of times because it's newer and I'm far away, but I've had some pretty good experiences there. I had an EMF tripwire, and there is zero power in this building at this. We still do not have any power in the building, so I kind of like that for the EMFs when they go off. I feel a little bit more confident that that was caused by spirits we've gone through with the K2 meter. We're not getting constant feed of anything. So the having the tripwire, I had laid it out on the floor coming at me. It was early morning. I took we have a lot of things that got donated to us for Masons. And I was reading a prayer out of one of the books. And all of a sudden, I just felt this heavy energy around me. And one by one, those tripwires coming at me were going off. And you could feel this rush of energy coming towards you. And then when it reached the end, I felt this electrified zap on the bottom of my foot and I had to put it up off the floor. It was almost like I got shocked by electric fence. And of course the camera wasn't working, so we didn't catch any of that on film. But
Really?
yeah, so that was pretty profound. And then I think upstairs when I was in the temple, I had asked so I had like REM pods like all over, and then in the other two rooms in the back, so they have a change room, one on each side for men and women because they shared this with the Eastern Star. So there were women in this lodge as well. So I just kind of had them all over upstairs. Well, would get a blip here, a blip there, and I'd start feeling that energy that I felt before when I did that prayer thing. And I was just like, hey, are you guys like doing this? Or like, is there a problem with my equipment? Like, I just need to know. And then all of a sudden, every REM pod I had on that level went off at the same time.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. Um,
What's happening with my cameras right now? My cameras are going nuts.
yeah, so that was cool. And then I think the first time I had the entire team together, um, Teresa was in the kitchen. She was making a sandwich, and all of a sudden I heard this loud bam, and I thought, oh man, she dropped the cooler on the floor. How could she drop the cooler on the floor? That's what it sounded like to me. And since I just owned it and really didn't have any furniture and didn't have a whole lot going on in the lodge, she comes busting through the door. She's like, "Oh my God, some just slammed something behind me." And we kind of went in there and tried to, figure out. We didn't see anything laying on the floor, no plaster fell, nothing like that. So then we opened the cabinets. One of us went back in the room. And they opened the cabinet. And we slammed it. And they're like, "That's exactly the sound that we heard." Later, doing an Estes session, one of the spirits said that they had done that because they thought it was funny.
They thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. See, I love a spirit with a sense of humor.
Oh yeah, yeah. We learned a lot about the spirits that day that we were there. We learned about some of the children that were there, some of the masons and such. So and we're still learning a little bit more history on the building. It's relatively new. It goes back so far. It's hard to get any information, being that it was built in 1861. But we do actually have a picture of it when it was the Arlington Hotel. So it just like had wagons of horses standing outside in front. It says Arlington. It looks pretty similar to what it does look now, but it was just really cool to find that photograph.
That's pretty cool. Well, I can always remember the name of it because we're here in Pittsburgh, um, and it's Pittsburgh Brewing Company. But our brewery was founded in 1861 as well. So I automatically have a connection to your Masonic Lodge.
Yeah, it's a
Was
fun building. So yeah, we're seasonal on that one because we don't have any heat or running water or anything like that. We tried to put a running bathroom in there. Hit a very expensive snafu, so we had to halt that project. But we do have a porta potty available for people. But yeah, it's just a work in progress. She needs a lot of work, and it's a little bit more expensive to fix a building than it is a house. So we just need people to
it
get in
is.
there and help support getting a lot more work done on this building.
And now you have somebody that like manages that building for you since it's so far away.
Not necessarily, no. It's surprisingly because there's really no yard work. So we go out there once a year and we spray everything really good with some good weed killers, so it keeps things down. And the town's really good. Like they'll send us a message and say, hey, like one of your windows blew out, and then I can usually call somebody in town to come over and get that fixed right away. So it's nice that they kind of look over the building. They're very the townspeople very attached to the building, and they're happy that I purchased it. That we're gonna try and renovate it, save the building. So yeah, they didn't want to see it get torn down. They've already lost two or three real historic buildings in town already that had to get torn down, and they were pretty sad about that. So they want the preservation.
That's great. That's great that they are so open to it because, like I said, a lot of times some of these towns just aren't open to things like this. We don't want this in our area, so
Right,
it's good that they want to be open to that. Well, let's see. You are so good. Like you've answered almost every question that I had, which is perfect. I put you on a subject and you just go, and it's great. You make my job so much easier. Um, have you ever had anything follow you home?
Me personally, no. I usually try to say like a little prayer, say that they have to stay there, they can't follow me home, do a little prayer to God. A couple of times my friends did not do a prayer, and they did have something follow them home. One time, Alex, can't remember where we were, but he lives in an apartment building. He's lived there for many, many years, no problem whatsoever. But then a couple days after he got home, his dog started acting weird. He was barking all the time. Then he started getting like his in the bathroom and in the kitchen, the faucets would turn on with the water running. So he's like, okay, this is not normal. So he gets kind of saged and did a little prayer, said you got to go back to where you came from, and then after that he didn't have any problem. But and another one of our girls had a she kind of opened her eyes and there was a cowboy standing at the end of her bed, and she's like, huh, okay, well you need to go back. So and then that was the only time that she had something that probably followed her home too. So but yeah, nothing me personally. No, I try to make sure they stay there.
So we went to a place called the Bel Air House in Bel Air,
Oh, I've been.
Ohio, and it's been
Yep.
it's one of the coolest places. It was actually one of the first places that we investigated together. We went with the group that we were with, and it was like my first official investigation. And I left there feeling very comfortable. I mean, we had a crazy night there, but I left feeling very comfortable. But then every time we go do an investigation, and I'm one of the ones that I always do an Estes. Whenever I'm doing the Estes, I'm going under, and the Estes will be going great, and we'll be communicating with somebody, and then boom, I would get, "Hey, boy," and I get this crazy laugh, and it happened time and time and time again. So I ran across to somebody that's a medium, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you have a follower that came from the Bel Air house, and there's nothing you can do to get rid of him. He's going to ride with you until you go to wherever he wants you to go." I'm like, "Well, cool. So you just tell me where to go, and I'll go." Nope, he's not going to tell you. He's not going to tell you. You just have to figure it out. You have to go there. And I'm like, this is, and he never caused me any harm. But he said that we knew each other in another life. I don't know how I feel about another life, but whatever. Um, and that he's not going to hurt me, although he could if he wanted to. And I was like, okay. And, I kind of like played it off like it really didn't bother me, but that's freaky, right? So we go along and we end up going to Ohio State Reformatory last summer and spent the entire evening there and had another crazy night. And as we're walking to the car, I looked at Deborah and I'm like, it's gone. And she's like, what? The car's gone? Somebody stole the car? And I'm like, no, 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 not the car, the follower. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I just, it was like the weight of the world just left me. And I'm like, he's gone. He's staying here. So, that was a really interesting thing to happen. And now this month, I'm going back to the Bel Air house. And then in March, we're going to OSR again. I'm glad it's not the other way because I wouldn't want to pick him up and take him back.
No.
But
Nervous.
but it was really interesting. Like people would pick up on it. They're like, who is that? Matter of fact, on our other podcast, we're talking to this guy Lee, and he's like, there's somebody standing over your shoulder. And I'm like, oh, don't do that to me now. This guy's gone. But yeah, I don't recommend a follower.
No.
I mean, I'd rather have a follower than a possession. Don't get
All
me
right.
wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I don't want either,
with the
really.
follower,
So, yeah.
and I feel like we're diligent. I'm an ordained minister. We use sage. We use prayer. I think if they really want to come with you, they're going to come with you.
Right.
But he didn't cause me any harm. Maybe a little stress here and there, but he never caused me any harm. So I guess I'm a better person for it. Huh? Yes. Well, let's see. What else do I have? What scares you? Is there anything that scares you?
Oh,
I know you said you're kind of a chicken, but there's got to be something that just like is a total nope for you.
I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think, like I said, the only thing that's freaky is if I were to open my eyes and something would be sitting there, standing there. That would probably just be a definite freak out thing. Um, but nothing offhand that I can think of to where I'm like, no, I'm not going there. So, um, yeah, except the Sally house. I won't go to the Sally house because that's got too much negativity attached to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Sally house. I mean, I guess I think I would go, but I would think about it long and
Yeah.
hard. Deborah said basements freak her out for sure. Basements are something that why are basements so creepy? I guess just because there's a lack of windows and they're really dark. But
Yeah. Well, if it's a finished basin, it's not too bad. But most of the ones, as you and I know, are not. They're creepy.
yeah, we watch a lot of the Foreman brothers, and they're always in these creepy basements. I don't know where they find their creepy basements, but ah, what is the funniest thing that's ever happened to you on an investigation?
Oh, I don't know about. We like sometimes just do comical relief jokes on each other. I know we've been like at a school and they have a bell. If you hit it, it does the whole thing. So a lot of times I just would occasionally just hit the bell, and I would see them freaking out on camera later because it's completely silent. That's on your you know. I've like shut doors on people like when they're in a room. I'm just like, whoop, they don't like that. Donna farted on thermal because she wanted to see what that would look like. So, and let me, it does show stuff. So, just a little bit of comic relief. You have to do that kind of stuff.
This is why we don't have a thermal because I would totally do that. So the funniest thing that ever happened to me, and this was just me being an idiot. We were doing the Monroe House in Hartford City, Indiana, and we got there ahead of the time, and we had the code to get in, so we got ourselves in, and I had to pee, and I'm walking around this place looking for the bathroom, and I can't find the bathroom. We covered every square inch of this house, and I can't find the bathroom. And I've got a live going, right? I got my camera on a tripod, and or my phone on a tripod, and I'm walking around, and I can't find this bathroom. And I'm like, is anybody? No, nobody's. There's four of us. Nope, nobody's seen it. So we're in the front of the house, and I heard the door open, and I'm like, well, that's either the owner of the house coming to talk to us, or it's already starting. So I headed back, and he was Eddie, the owner, and I'm like, he's like, hey, I'm Eddie. I'm like, Eddie, really nice to meet you. Can you show me where the bathroom is? I've got to pee so bad. He's like, oh, sure. So, and it was like around this corner where you'd never think a bathroom was. So, anyway, I go there with my camera. I lay the camera down on the back of the toilet, and all of a sudden you hear me pee, and I go, oh, on a live. And everybody just sitting there listening to me pee, and I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Hand wash whole thing, and I pick up the camera, and I'm like, oh, what did I just do?
I forgot you're on a line. That is.
You idiot. But when when you gotta go, you've
Oh
gotta
yeah,
go, and nothing else
that's
matters.
right. Right.
Oh, so I think from now on, I usually set the camera down and walk away from it. But wow, pretty dumb. So at this point, anybody that's on here that has questions, please ask. Well, Marcia said, "Why did why did she send the cowboy home?" Your friend that saw the cowboy at the end of her bed.
Well, I don't know. She probably just didn't want a cowboy in her house, I suppose.
Marcia, what would you have done with the cowboy? Did you ever say, "Hey, jump in"? Oh shoot! So if you guys got questions for Jill, ask away. And Jill, is what else that we haven't covered did you want to throw out there?
um,
Oh, and how do people get a hold of you to set up an investigation? You have a website, or how do they do that?
yeah, so if you're interested in doing the Masonic Lodge, it's haunted1861masonic.com. That'll get you to the website. It's got a lot of information for you. And then we do allow the private investigations. You get it from 3 p.m. till noon the next day. It's $350 a night for up to 10 people. And again, we're just seasonal, so we're April through November. So you can check us out there. And then the Boyd House is boydhouse217.com. And that again has the same, 3 p.m. till noon the next day. We're at 225 at the Boyd House. fully functioning. We have snacks, electric. We're open 365. Um, so yeah, you can find a lot of information there as well as tell you how to book, what days are available, and that type of thing. And then the Boyd House, we are doing our second annual paranormal convention. I tried my hand at doing a convention last year. It was a really good success. We had like 200 people show up, so I was pretty excited about that. So we are expanding a little bit this year. We're adding some Friday night events. So we're doing ghost hunts at the Boyd House Friday and Saturday night as well. And then Friday night we're having I call it the Light and Laughter event. And then actually we have the comedian Nathan Holtz. It's going to kind of open the show, and he was the winner of the 2023 Last Comic Standing. And then we have Don Marlette, who is a really good psychic that's going to do a 90-minute gallery reading with everybody. And then we're going to follow it up with a band called the Speakeasy, which is a little bit of rock mixed with a little bit of funk and reggae in it, and a little disco. So they're a little different, but they're a really good band. So that's our Friday night kickoff party. And then Saturday, we just have like our different workshops. We got one with Brooke Ashley. She's been with us before. She's an evidential medium. She's really amazing and just up and coming. So she's getting a little bit more popular. People are starting to know who she is, but she's going to host one of our ghost hunts. And she's also doing a 90-minute gallery reading. We have Brady Goebel from Chasing Paranormal, Michelle Roos, she's a medium and demonologist. Adrian Lee's a Minnesota well-known author, and he does unscripted paranormal TV, and he founded the International Paranormal Society because he's from England. Holly Burns is another medium that we'll be having. Don Winter, he'll be speaking for us. He's an author of a book called Near Death Experiences. So he'll be talking about his book and different near-death experiences. He himself has not had one, but he's interviewed thousands and thousands of people. So I read his book. It's very fascinating. Dr. Huck Horgath is a medium and a psychic, and she will be doing some workshops as well. And then we have Kate Armstrong from Paranormal Exposure. She's going to be doing a haunted objects class. I'll be speaking about the Boyd House and some of the history and showing some of the haunted things we've captured. And then we are bringing in 2 haunted museums. We're doing the Museum of Souls from Iowa, and then the Haunted Chicago Museum's coming in with a bunch of their stuff as well.
Holy crap! I want to go.
So yeah,
That's amazing.
I'm expanding this year and making it a little bit bigger than last year. So hopefully we'll still get a good turnout. So because I'd like to continue with year 3, but we'll see how year 2 goes.
Wow. I mean, I don't know how you could go wrong with that. That sounds like a great time.
Yeah, I did. Everyone had a really good time last year, so it went really well last year, and I was excited. And that's a lot of people. Like I said, I got good feedback, so I thought, well, let's do it again. We'll make it a little bigger. If the trend continues where we get a lot of people turn out, then we'll do like a full day Friday, full day Saturday thing the following year.
That's amazing. I wish we were closer because that sounds great.
Yeah, it's a good time, and I'm really excited for the Friday night event. It's something I haven't tried before. It's a little bit different having a comedian, a psychic, and a band. But it kind of sounds like it's a prelude to a joke. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to have this go down.
A comedian, a psychic, and a band walk into a haunted house.
That's
I mean,
right.
there's got to be a punchline there. There's got to be a punchline.
That's
I'll
right.
have to
That's
think
right.
about that one. Well, we got a couple questions here. Marsha wants to know what it looked like, and we couldn't figure it out. And then she says, "The fart."
Oh. It just looked like a different poof color of air. Like you could actually see it moving through. And I don't remember what color it was, but you definitely could see that something was going on. So it was pretty funny.
I'm gonna have to get a thermal. That's one of the things we don't have. We have so much equipment, but that's one of the things we don't have. So it, now it's on the list for sure. We've been talking about it for a while.
Well, they make them cheaper now where you can just get them connected to your phone, like the Seek
Yeah,
Thermal. So they're only $200-300 now.
yeah.
Of
I
course, I
think
have
the one for iPhone is 199 now. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So they're not as bad now, but they're so fun to play with. I'm gonna catch something on there someday.
and Gary wants to know Did you ever investigate the Jim Jones Church?
I have not. I have heard of it, but I have not. We're trying to not drive as far. You know, we're getting old, so it's hard for us to get around.
How about the Stone? I don't know where the Stone Mansion is. He says, "How about the Stone Mansion?"
We haven't
Um,
done that one as well either. I believe that's in Indiana or Illinois. I think I can't remember, but I've heard of it.
he says you won't be disappointed. I've heard a lot about the Jim Jones Church for sure. Okay, well, I don't know if anybody else has any questions, but I think that was pretty darn good. I enjoyed listening to you.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I definitely, if you want, I can come back later on in the season. We got plenty more things to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, Deborah says I think a road trip is in our future.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
we're always down for road trips. I mean, we and I said Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, West Virginia. We've been to Indiana. We're going to ISS. We're going to Billy Creek. So we're already out that way. We're going to old hospital on College Hill. 3 more hours. So it's only 10 more hours to Minnesota.
Right. Or you could go to Illinois, go to the lodge. It's still closer for you.
Yeah,
You'll see a
yeah,
lot of stuff there too.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, three more hours we could be in Florida where it's warm. Yes, that's true. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. This is our first podcast, as I told you, and I think it went very, very well. You were the perfect guest because I could ask you one question and you would answer my other five right in a row without me having to ask them. So you made it easy on me, and I appreciate that.
Well, thanks
And
for
we
having
got to learn a little bit about your locations. And like I said, we've watched some videos, and I've got a couple more started that I want to watch. But I wish you very well in your. She gave me the name of it. You don't know the episode number from my ghost story?
not off the head. I just know it was A Night at Monique was the title. So you just you might be able to find it that way. It was in
I wrote
April.
down.
Yeah,
I
April.
typed down the name of it, so we're definitely gonna look at that as well. And then I wanted to look up some of your episodes on YouTube as well because I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, appreciate
So
the support.
we will definitely have you back on because this was a lot of fun, and I think we should do a wrap up from your event and maybe get some pictures and video to show as well. If
Yeah,
we
for sure.
coordinate that ahead of time, I'm learning how to put other things in here so we can put videos in and lots of pictures and all kinds of this stuff like that. So we could definitely do a wrap up on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Flyer, she could screenshot it, we can share it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you're doing a flyer, we would definitely, if you're doing any type of advertisement, we can share the heck out of that as well.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do have one. I gotta just tweak a few more things out on it, but I'll definitely get it over to you.
Cool. Well, like I said, I appreciate you so much coming on here. I had a blast. And you made this. I was a ball of nerves yesterday. I did a live and just to try to get used to this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and everybody's like, you'll be great, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. But having you as the guest made it a lot easier. So I appreciate you no matter what. It was really good.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Jill, take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye.
And I got this corny little music to end with as Jill fades into. Thank you for asking questions and being a great audience for us. We greatly appreciate you as well. Without you guys, there's no sense in doing all this. So I appreciate all of your time and your attention. And I'm going to say that's it for the night. I'm out of here and spook.